Now, Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations present
Suspense. Tonight, Autolite brings you Academy Award winner Miss Claire Trevor in The Light Switch, a suspense play produced and directed by Anton M. Leader.
Friends, it's the Peanuts, Popcorn, and Baseball season. And the time to replace worn-out narrow gap spark plugs with a set of those revolutionary new wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. You'll get smooth idling, more positive firing on leaner gas mixtures, actually saving on gas. Yes, these winning benefits are all made possible by a newly developed 10,000-ohm resistor built right into every Autolite resistor spark plug. This exclusive Autolite resistor makes practical a wider spark gap setting, and that's what does the trick. What's more, Autolite resistor spark plugs with this exclusive Autolite resistor cut down on radio and television interference. So, folks, see your Autolite dealer and have him replace old, worn-out, narrow gap spark plugs with a set of the new Autolite resistor spark plugs. Remember, you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite presents Claire Trevor in a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Every window was locked now. Every jet of gas was on full. There was nothing impulsive left in me. I moved as if guided by a subconscious force. I selected a light fixture near the door, tapped the globe with an ashtray until it broke and the glass fell to my feet. For an instant, the naked little wires that had made up the filament seemed to hypnotize me. At 7:30, when he switches on the lights, those tiny wires will cause the spark that'll blow everything I despise in the world out of my life. Everything I despise, everything I loathe, and yet everything I love. The gas in the little room was beginning to make my eyes smart, and I realized I had to get out of there. I started to open the door when something told me to stop. It was lucky. I pressed my ear against the panel. I could hear voices outside. People were talking in the hall. I'd have to wait. Couldn't get panicky. Just had to wait. That was all. I thought of shutting off the gas, but they'd be gone in a second. Seconds. It seemed like hours before the voices finally died away. I heard a hall door shut behind them. Now I had to be fast. The gas was beginning to make me feel strange. I listened for an instant more, then turned the knob and started out just in time to see two men getting off the elevator. Stepped inside again and shut the door. I have to wait. I don't know how long I'd been waiting. I tried to piece together what had happened. How I'd gotten here. I was getting dizzy. Skit, Webb. It all started with Skit. My head was whirling. Lights were flashing in front of my eyes. Lights like the ones down on East Main Street, on the burlesque marquee, next door to Skip Webb's office. I'd never been down on Main Street before. I remember it was a strange, dirty... It frightened me. I remember running upstairs to Skip's office.
Hello.
Is this the office of Mr. Webb, private detective?
That's what the sign says. Who are you?
I'm Mrs. John Winston. I'm in a hurry, so I'll make it clear exactly what I want.
There's a banker named John Winston. Your husband?
Yes. Now, Mr. Webb, I'm certain there is nothing wrong, you understand? I just want to check, that's all. I want you to watch John for a few days, then we'll just forget the whole thing.
Better start at the beginning.
I don't think that's important.
It is to me. They call it background.
Mr. Webb, I came here to tell you what to do, not to be questioned. Perhaps I should point out that I could certainly have afforded a more, shall we say, prosperous agent.
Yeah. Let's say prosperous.
I've been married a long time, and John has never given me any reason to believe that there was anything or anyone else, you understand?
You mean until lately?
I mean never.
In other words, out of a clear sky, you begin to suspect something.
I'm here to hire a private detective, not to listen to your insinuations. If you don't want or need the job, there are others.
Sure, I need a job. We both know that. Don't we, Mrs. Winston?
Hello.
Hello, Mrs. Winston. Can you talk? I mean, are you alone?
Why, yes. Who is this?
This is Webb, Skid Webb. Remember last week?
Who?
Skid Webb, the private investigator you hired.
Oh, yes. I'd almost forgotten about that. I'm afraid I was acting quite foolishly that day. I had some sort of a silly argument with John about his working so late, you understand.
What I called about, Mrs. Winston, is that I've been tailing John Boy all week. I think maybe you might have something after all.
You don't mean that. You lie.
No, Mrs. Winston. I really mean it.
You lie. Do you hear me? You lie. You're a liar. Oh. 8.
Hello?
Hello, is this Mr. Webb?
Well, Mrs. Winston. I didn't expect I'd hear from you again.
Mr. Webb, tell me. Where was he? What was her name? Do you know that?
Take it easy. Look, first you come in the office and give me no information, then when I dig something up for you, you throw a tantrum. What's with that?
All right, I'm sorry. I'll try to be more sensible. Now tell me.
Well, it's going to take a little time before I can make a definite report. A little time and a lot more work.
But I hired you
Well,
to do a simple...
want your dough back?
No, I'd like you to find out anything you can.
Okay. Then play it my way just for a short time. As soon as I can, I'll give you some definite information.
All right. But I want you to tell me everything as it goes along, Mr. Webb.
Okay. And why not just call me Skid?
I'd rather leave it at Mr. Webb, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
No, I never want to call you Skid. My head, throbbing, splitting. I was on the floor. Gas. 7:30. 7:30, it would be all over. The gas, I could smell it. Horrible. No, it wasn't gas. It was wisteria. Yes, the odor of wisteria, as it was in the park that day. I was standing on the edge of a walk near a bed of white tulips in the wisteria. I love wisteria.
Have you been waiting long, Mrs. Winston?
No.
Well, come on, let's go over that bench. There now.
What do you have?
Well, John Boy seems to have pretty well settled down to one gal.
Another woman? I don't believe you, Mr. Webb. Girls, perhaps, but not another woman.
Okay. Well, you can't tell yet anyway.
You're making the whole thing up.
Then forget it.
It's your type, that guy.
I said
type.
forget it. Look, Mrs. Winston, I don't take that from anyone. You think just because you came down Main Street and you were hiring a two-bit snoop?
Just a minute, Mr. Webb.
I'm not through yet. Just because I don't have a plushy suite on the west side, you think that's the biggest case I've ever had? Sure, I've got a cheap office and a rundown joint. Sure, I've had better times. Let me tell you about them.
I'm not interested in your past, and I thoroughly resent your insolence.
Ever hear of Juanita Cole, Mrs. Winston? No? Well, I guess you wouldn't have. Juanita had an insurance deal. Filled the room with gas and hooked up a cigarette lighter to an alarm clock so that at a certain time the lighter would spark and blow the whole joint up. Would have worked, too, except the clock stopped. Yeah, it was a clever stunt. You know who broke the case? I did. Yeah, me, the two-bit snoop you wanted to hire. And I can name other cases just as big.
Mr. Webb, I don't see what all of this has to do with me, but if you're quite through now,
Oh, you don't, huh? Well, I'll tell you. I'm sick of this high and mighty routine you've been giving me. I've got you pegged, Mrs. Winston. I know what's going on inside that head of yours. You told me you were 32. In your case, that means maybe 40.
That's not true.
You know you're slipping. You can't face it.
What do you mean?
Your husband, he's lost interest.
No.
You've been put on a shelf. He's found somebody else. You can't take it.
Shut up! Shut up!
Okay. I guess that covers it. And don't bother firing me. I quit.
What?
Get yourself another boy.
No. No, you can't quit.
I already have.
But I'm depending on you. You can't leave me now. I've got to find out. Please, I need you. I need somebody.
That's no lie.
You've got to help me.
Well, maybe. That depends on you.
On me?
Maybe if we were to climb down off that high
Oh,
horse,
I will. Anything.
Okay. All I know so far is that instead of being at a board meeting like he told you last Wednesday night, remember?
Where was he?
Had dinner at the gourmet private room. After that, I lost him.
What did she look like?
Typical. Blonde, about 25, theatrical looking, pretty well put together.
Oh, stop it.
Well, you asked me.
What else?
She met him for lunch on Friday. I think she may be in a show downtown. That's all I know now, but I'll keep checking.
Yes, keep checking.
But you've got to promise not to get all hot and bothered until we're ready to move.
I promise, Mr. Webb. I'll be as cold as ice.
Mrs. Winston, Skid Webb. This is it.
Oh,
John Boy's girlfriend is a dame named Terry Williams, an ex-choruser from the Latin Club. Ex since she nailed onto John Boy, that is.
go ahead.
She's living at a hotel downtown. Now, look, you can do one of two things. Either rush right down there, tip them off, and they'll clam up, or play it clever and wait for the kill.
I'll be clever.
Okay. It's a pretty good joint, sort of upper middle, the Bryn Carlton.
Thank you, Skit.
Shouldn't be long now. I'll let you know when at a crucial time. You know what I mean. Then we'll...
To find your number. And please. What's it about? Here it is.
Hotel Bryn Carlton.
Oh, yes, Bryn Carlton. Do you have a Terry Williams there?
Terry Williams? Yes, apartment 504. I'll ring her.
Oh, never mind. After I hung up, all the strength seemed to drain out of me. I leaned heavily against the nightstand, and the lamp fell to the floor. For one instant after the globe had broken, the light glowed on. That's how life was. There was always a final spark after the brightness was gone. Now I knew what I was going to do about John and me. No long, drawn-out divorce. I was going to kill him. I'd be clever enough even for Skit Webb. But John would die.
For Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Claire Trevor in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Say, Harlow, it's the ninth inning. 50,000 people, Hap. I can't resist it. I'll tell them.
Tell them what, Harlow?
Here goes. Take out those old narrow gap spark plugs. Go to bat with a set of wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. They make your engine idle smoother, give better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save gas. Why, that newly developed 10,000 ohm Autolite resistor found in no other automotive type spark plug increases electrode life 200% and more.
Harlow, the slugger is up.
It's a four-bagger, Hap. And so are sensational wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. What's more, that exclusive Autolite resistor cuts down on radio and television interference, too. So see your Autolite dealer and get a set of those remarkable, irresistible, sensational new wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs today.
Come on now, Harlow. We got to switch from baseball to Suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Claire Trevor as Mrs. Winston in The Light Switch. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I could hear the steady hiss of gas. The gas filling the room. The trap I'd set for my husband, John, and his girlfriend wasn't working out the way I'd planned. I had to get out of the room. My plan was falling to pieces. My life falling to pieces. And like a person drowning, I was remembering. You.
What were you expecting?
I told you not to come here. John hired a private nurse to be with me all the time.
Is that why I didn't get my money this week?
Of course not. Come inside and be quiet. I'm all right, Mr. Webb. I've been trying to contact you anyway.
To pay me? My expenses have been running up, you know. I figure maybe a couple of hundred.
Oh, forget that. Do you want to make some good money?
You kidding?
Skit, I'm very clever now. Very clever.
Switch?
I'll play it any way you like. You say where and when, and I'll stay quiet. But first, I've got to trust you. And I don't now.
Why? I've given you the straight all along. When the time is right, we'll be able to put John Boy right where he belongs.
Fine, but all I have gotten from you is hearsay. Certainly you gave me the name of Terry Williams, and I checked myself.
You didn't?
I didn't do anything, just found out she lived in 504. But still, she could be any girl. I've got to know.
Well, what do you want?
I want to see them myself.
Huh? Oh, now, look, that's just about impossible. They're very cagey. The only reason I can tag them is because I know my business. That is, unless you want to take the chance of tipping the whole thing off.
No, I just want to see them at the Brent Carlton.
Well, I haven't caught them there myself yet.
All right, Skit. Until then, you are off the payroll.
Well, it may not be as easy as all that. How much if I can? I'm not a mind reader, you know. I can't tell what they're going to do before they do it.
500. And from then on, I won't question you.
Well, I don't know. May take a week, maybe a month. I don't have much to go on.
Please understand. I have to know myself.
How about last week's dough? Can you get it now?
Yes.
Huh. I'll do my best. You go get what you owe me.
You wait here in the hall.
Hello.
Skit, you told me you were going to call this morning. I've been sitting by the phone all day.
Well, I didn't have anything to report this morning, but I do now. I was just going to call you.
Tell me quickly.
You called me yesterday and said that John Boy was going away for a weekend.
Yes.
Well, get the $500 ready. I was able to tap a phone conversation. Pretty tricky job, too.
Go ahead.
He's picking Terry Williams up in a taxi tonight at 7:15. They'll arrive at her apartment around 7:30 for dinner. Got that?
Yes.
Okay. You wait in your car across the street. I'll join you there.
All right.
Now, listen, don't lose your head and mess up the whole deal.
No, I won't.
I may be a little late. I've got to tail them this afternoon, make sure everything runs right. So they may beat me there. If they do, you can watch them go in, but wait for me. Be clever, Mrs. Winston. Clever.
Yes, Skit. Clever. You'll never know how clever. I managed to get away from my nurse. Came here, got the key from one of the pigeonholes when the desk clerk wasn't looking, and let myself in. Apartment 504. Terry Williams' apartment. That's clever, Mr. Webb. Then I locked the windows, turned on the gas, and cracked a light bulb so it would spark when the lights were switched on. And now you'll see how clever I am at 7:30 when they... 7:30. I've got to get out. The door. I've got to get to that door.
Are you kidding me, Eva? Of course she's drunk.
I tell you she ain't, Harry.
Oh, look at her eyes. She's loaded.
The lights. Don't turn on the lights.
They're already on, honey.
Where am I? How did I get here?
You got me there, baby. Eva and I just got off the elevator, and there you were, staggering up and down the hall like
I got into the hall. What room is this?
Why, it's our room, honey. You folded right in front of our door. I'm Eva, and this here's...
Harry and Eva, honey. You remember Harry and Eva Vaudeville played all the big-time Palace, Chicago, Detroit. You remember?
No, she don't, Harry.
Well, why don't she?
Please, I mean, what's the number of this room?
505.
Then 504 is next door.
Yeah, that's real smart. Yeah, 504 is next door. Then comes 503, 502,
Please
50...
help me up.
That's where you come from, 504? Terry having a party or something?
No, that isn't where I came
Oh, fine girl, Terry. She was overdue, you know.
Hey, if Terry's having a party, maybe we ought to drop in.
Oh, no.
Why not? We haven't seen much of her since she started running around with her new boyfriend. Come
No,
on!
I mean, there's no party there, and I didn't come from there.
Then how do you know there's no party there?
Please help me up. I've got to get out of here right now.
I don't know, honey. You don't look so good to me. Why don't you just lie down a few minutes, and then maybe it's...
What time is it?
It's time for a drink. That's what time it is. Now, you wait just right here, and I'll get it.
Oh, please, tell me what time it is.
Oh, about 7:30.
No, I mean the exact time.
Say, you're pretty particular, honey. Okay. It's exactly 7:26. That good enough for you?
4 minutes. I've got to leave. You've got to help me out of here right now. Do you understand? Right now. Help me up, I tell you.
Well, okay,
Help
honey.
me up.
Okay, don't get so upset. Here.
Oh, thank you.
Well, here you are, girls. Here's your drink.
No, thanks. I don't care.
Come on, sit down and drink it. Do you?
No,
good.
please.
I said sit down.
Oh, why'd you want to push her, Harry?
Well, what's with this babe anyway?
I don't know, but she don't look so hot to me. Maybe we ought to send for a doctor.
I don't need a doctor.
Hey, wait a minute. I just figured out what's wrong with you.
What?
You're unhappy. That's what's wrong.
Oh.
And that's something I can't stand to see. Anybody unhappy. Well, we got just a thing for that, even me. We'll give you a little routine.
Routine?
Yes, sir. It'll snap you right out of it in no time. Come on, Eva. Oh, I'm just wild about Harry.
No.
Come on, Eva. Come on. Oh, I'm just wild about Harry.
And Harry's wild about me.
Now, watch your stuff.
Don't Henry business.
Well, how about that? How about that? We're giving her class, and all she can say is stop that. Now, look here,
Oh,
sister.
let her alone, Harry. Can't you see she don't feel so... Here, honey. You let me help you.
Oh, thanks. Now, the door.
Maybe what you need is a drink.
Well, what do you think I offered her a couple of minutes ago? That ain't what she needs. She's loaded already. What she needs is air.
Air. That's right, air. What I need is some air. Let's go out and get some air.
Well, what's wrong with just opening the window?
Oh.
Hey, Eva, look.
Huh?
Terry and that new boyfriend getting out of a cab. Now we can have a party.
I don't want a party. I want to get out right now. Can't you understand? Get me out of
Harry,
here.
maybe we better get her out of here. I'm kind of worried about her.
Yes, we must get out.
We got to help her downstairs, Harry.
Oh, how come we always get tangled up with creeps like this?
Please help.
Come on, Harry. Come on.
And finally, we were out in the hall, and Harry started to ring for the elevator. Only John would be coming up on the elevator. I insisted we take the stairs. Told them elevators made me dizzy. I knew they thought I was crazy, but I didn't care what they thought. Just as we reached the lobby, I caught sight of John's gray coat disappearing into the elevator, and she was right behind him. Eva and Harry tried to drag me with them to the bar down the street, but I refused, and they went on without me. I waited in the lobby. The indicator over the elevator door stopped at the 5th floor. They were just getting out of the elevator, and now they must be walking down the hall. I could almost see John fitting the key. I walked quietly out of the hotel lobby to my car down the street. I felt better now. As I let myself in the front door, I knew I'd done everything right. I'd been clever. And now there was only one thing to remember. I must act shocked when they call me to tell me John is dead.
Yes, I came back for my coat. Incidentally, where is it? The gray one. I was positive it was in the hall closet, but I can't find it. Who could have taken it? Did someone borrow it? Darling, what's the matter?
I thought you...
Where have you been, dear? Oh, you shouldn't worry me like this.
You didn't have your coat?
But I just told you. I started on my trip and discovered I'd left it behind, so I came back for it. Oh, please, dear, you mustn't get so upset about trifles. You're not well. And here you go running around when you're not supposed to leave the house. Oh, really, I've tried to be considerate with you, but I...
You have been considerate, John. Very considerate. You've been a perfect husband. The police will be here any minute. When I called, they said they'd be right over. It's strange how it all worked out. He intended to make a lot of money off me, but I never had a chance to give him the $500. He thought he was so clever, but all he made was expenses. And I thought I was being clever, too. I killed 2 people. Terry Williams and her boyfriend, Skip Webb.
Thank you, Claire Trevor, for a splendid performance.
Oh, Miss Trevor.
Yes, Mr. Wilcox.
Remember what you said at rehearsal?
You mean that some women don't know a spark plug from a hill of beans?
That's right. Well, just in case you're one of those women, I went out to my car and got a spark plug.
Oh.
Now, you see how you can tell the difference?
Oh, why, of course. On this spark plug you handed me, it plainly says auto light resistor. And I doubt whether a hill of beans is marked at all.
I doubt it, too. And besides, the Hill of Beans is not made by Autolite, which makes more than 400 products for cars, trucks, airplanes, and boats in 28 Autolite plants from coast to coast. Yes, sir, and Autolite also makes complete electrical systems for many makes of America's finest cars. Batteries, spark plugs, generators, starting motors, coils, distributors. All engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly because they're a perfect team. So, folks, don't accept electrical parts that are supposed to be as good. Ask for and insist on Autolite, original factory parts, at your neighborhood service station, car dealer, garage, or repair shop. Remember, you're always right with Autolite.
And now here again is Miss Claire Trevor.
It's been a pleasure to appear here tonight with this great cast of suspense actors and actresses. And I'm expecting almost as much pleasure from listening next week when radio's outstanding theater of thrills brings you Jimmy Stewart in Revenge, another gripping study in
Suspense.
Claire Trevor will soon be seen co-starring with Fred McMurray in Borderline Productions' forthcoming picture, Borderline. Tonight's suspense play was written by Richard Vaudreuil, with music composed by Lucien Moraweck and conducted by Leith Stevens. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. In the coming weeks, Suspense will present such stars as Frederick March, Joan Crawford, Agnes Moorehead, John Lund, and many others. Make it a point to listen each Thursday to Suspense, radio's outstanding theater of thrills. And next Thursday, same time, hear James Stewart in Revenge.
You can buy Autolite resistor spark plugs, Autolite stay-full batteries, Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. Now, Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations present
Suspense. Tonight, Autolite brings you James Stewart in Consequence, a suspense play produced and directed by Anton M. Leader.
Friends, while the wife is spring cleaning the house, how about spring cleaning your car? Give your motor new spring pep by replacing those worn-out narrow-gap spark plugs with a set of revolutionary new wide-gap Autolite resistor spark plugs.
Your motor will idle smoother.
Yup, and give better performance on leaner gas mixtures.
Yes, sirree. Actually save gas.
What's more, Autolite resistor spark plugs with the exclusive Autolite resistor cut down on radio and television interference. So, folks, see your Autolite dealer and have him replace old, worn-out, narrow-gap spark plugs with a set of the sensational new Autolite resistor spark plugs.
Remember,
you're always right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite presents James Stewart in a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Maybe the costume was the decisive factor, or maybe it would have happened anyway. In any event, the occasion was the 10th reunion. And the class of 29, as such occasions demand, they were all dressed identically in cowboy suits. And there was Ted Wolf, whom I hadn't seen in 10 years, although in college he'd been by far my closest friend. And so, of course, I brought him home to dinner. And Gwen managed to be quite charming, even though it was the maid's night out. She didn't even kick about the oven. And that's how it started out. Just like that. Just like any pleasant, casual little evening.
Oh, Gwen, that was a wonderful meal. Last one I'll get like that for a while.
Thank you, sir.
Have you really got to go tonight, Ted? Can't you take a day or so?
No, not very well. I got my plane reservations and everything. Anyway, I told him I'd be back this week, and well, tonight's just about the deadline if I'm going to make it.
Well, what time's your plane?
3 a.m. Say, that reminds me, I can't go aboard in this thing.
Oh, you probably will. I think you're both kind of stuck on yourselves in those cowboy outfits. Worse than a couple of kids.
Sure, I'm going to wear mine to the hospital tomorrow.
Oh, fine. Hey, no kidding, though. People will think I'm nuts.
All right. Spoil sport. Now, we'll call the hotel later, have them bring your bags over, and you can change here. Although I would think a cowboy suit would be a sensation in Ecuador. You know?
Ted, are you really going to Ecuador?
Mm-hmm.
First, I thought it must be a joke.
No, you've heard me talk about the work Ted's doing there.
I know, but Ecuador.
Well, they've got to have medical care out on those plantations some way, and well, I like it.
I don't see how you stand it. Living like a hermit, cut off from civilization, not making... Well, I mean, they can't possibly pay you what's... No, Gwen. What time? Oh, my goodness, I've got to run.
Are you leaving us, Gwen?
I promised Mother I'd come out to the country tonight. Anyway, I know you two would much rather talk over old times by yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, in case I don't see you again, thanks for everything. It's been swell.
Well, you're coming back sometime, aren't you?
Oh, maybe 5 years, maybe 10, maybe never.
Silly. You come back next year and plan to stay for a while.
Oh, thank you.
I am sorry I have to go, but you two have a nice evening. There are eggs in the icebox, Phil.
Okay.
Did he always have to have fried eggs at night when he was in college, Ted?
Yeah, that's Phil, all right.
Good night, darling. Don't bother coming to the door now. I'll phone you tomorrow night.
Bye, Gwen.
Have a good trip, Ted. Bye.
Goodbye. You're a lucky man, Phil.
Am I?
Well, I suppose you know that the main reason I came to this shindig at all was to see you.
So why me? No, it's been a long time since you and I had the same dreams, Ted.
You haven't lost them, though. You're still in there pitching.
Oh, sure. Yes. Private practice, 2 cars in the garage, 2 chickens in the pot. That's the kind of ball I've been pitching for the last 10 years. And it's the kind I'll keep on pitching until some other doc says coronary thrombosis and they carry me out.
You can't kid me, Phil. You're happy. I'd just about given up the idea that there was such a thing as a happy man.
And now you think you've found one?
Oh, I know I have. I knew it the minute I came into this room. I knew it the minute I saw her.
Gwen?
Yeah, Gwen.
I hate Gwen.
Phil.
And what's more, she hates me. Oh, it's nothing that shows on the surface. We get along because we have to. Because my reputation would suffer if we didn't.
Phil, you can't be serious.
No? Well, why do you think I've given up every dream I've ever had? Why do you think I spend my life treating the imaginary ills of a lot of wealthy hypochondriacs? So Gwen can have this and Gwen can do that. So Gwen can satisfy every greedy instinct and every petty, rotten ambition that any woman ever had.
Lord, I never realized.
Well, that's it.
You've got to do something about it, Phil. You got to get out. Got to go to another city, go to another country.
Yeah. She'd be after me like a hawk. She'd have me up before the medical association. Oh, there are 1,000 things she could do and would do. Oh, I've thought of it every way there is. It's no use. So, it's off my chest. Now you know. And I'm sorry I disillusioned you. Excuse me. Dr. Martin? Oh, well, now? Right. I'll be right down.
You're not going out now. I want to talk to you.
No, well, I'm still a doctor. Even Gwen can't stop that. And I'll be back before you leave, though, if you want to stick around. I'd sort of like to ride out the airport with you.
Was the call really important, Phil?
Yeah. Now make yourself at home. Fix yourself anything you want in the kitchen. Only look out for the oven. It leaks when you turn it off just right. And I won't be long.
Okay. I'll wait, Doctor.
Thanks, Doctor. I kind of hoped you would, Ted. That was the second thing. Ted's deciding to stay, but I didn't know it then. All I knew was that Jo had called me from the office, and she was upset. Still, I decided to walk. I was upset, too. When I got there, she was going over the accounts. Hello, darling.
Hello. That was nice.
Well, isn't it always?
Always terribly.
Well, what are you doing? Now, there isn't all that rush to get the bills out.
There is, though. For me.
For you?
Uh-huh.
Well, what is it, Jo? What's the matter?
Phil, I had a talk with Father this evening.
Well, something about us?
All about us.
Well, he doesn't know anything. He couldn't. Nobody, unless you told him.
You know I wouldn't do that, Phil.
I'm sorry, darling. I know.
Anyway, it isn't what he knows. It's what he thinks. We had an awful row. He said he'd go to the trustees of the hospital. He said he'd go to Gwen.
He said that?
That's why I'm getting the bills out for you now. Because I'm going away.
But you're going where? Well, how long?
No, darling, it's not going to be like that. It's for good.
Jo,
It's for good, Phil.
Well, Jo, I can't let you go. I know it hasn't been perfect, but I know it's been infinitely worse for you than for me, but at least we've had something. At least I've always known where you are, that you're here on the other side of the door, and I could see you and talk to you.
I can't live with a door between us anymore.
Well, maybe you just don't love me enough to... No, darling. I don't mean that.
Phil, I'm not playing noble. This had to happen someday, and it has. And that's all.
I could go with you.
You couldn't do that, Phil.
Well, why not? I could change my name. We could go to another city, even another country. I could get back to research. I could...
Oh, darling. It's no go, Phil.
I asked her for a divorce again this morning.
You don't have to tell me the answer. There is no answer for us, Phil. Not one that we can take. And there we are.
Yeah, there we are.
You'd better go now. I've got all this to do.
Well, let me help you.
No.
Well, why not?
I could weaken. And then where would we be?
Oh, Jo.
No, Phil, please go.
Jo.
Please. Please.
All right, I'll go. I don't know how long I walked that night or where. Perhaps most men are weak and never know it. But when you're losing the woman you think you love, that's when you'll find out. That's when you'll see yourself at last in the pitiless glare of all your poor, frightened, childish helplessness. And I walked along, and I was sick to the depths of my soul. And I walked some more. Somewhere in the distance, I heard a siren. There was a glow against the sky, a fire. And then I realized I was near my home. And then it wasn't just a glow against the sky of any fire. It was my own house. It burned almost to the ground.
This is terrible. How did it happen? Somebody said they think it was the gas stove.
Stunned and confused, I began edging through the crowd. And then there was a sudden stillness. And a few men took off their hats. And then I saw it. A stretcher. And the blanket thrown over the shapeless form. And the blackened, shriveled cowboy boot. And I remembered. Ted had been in that house.
They just got him out now.
Yeah, what's left of him? They say you wouldn't hardly know it was a man.
Frantically, I started forward, and then I stopped. Because I thought somebody had spoken to me, but they hadn't. They weren't looking at me. They were looking at the ground and the stretcher. And that thing that lay there on it.
Dr. Philip Martin.
Yeah, I knew him. He was a good man.
Oh, poor Dr. Martin. What an awful way to die.
Suddenly I was shaking with excitement. I pulled my hat down over my eyes. I turned up my collar, and I moved carefully back through the crowd, out into the street, and I turned the corner, and then I ran. Joe!
Phil!
Joe, I'm going with you.
Phil, you haven't...
Joe, it's all right. It's all right, Joe. I'll tell you later. But we're free, Joe. We're free. I'm dead. I mean, Dr. Philip Martin. He's dead.
For Suspense, Autolite is bringing you James Stewart in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Heard you caught a burglar at your house last night.
I sure did, Hap. There was this man sneaking around my garage. I said, look here, mister. You want to replace your old narrow gap spark plugs with the sensational new wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. Why, those wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs will make your engine idle smoother, give you better performance on leaner gas mixtures, actually save gas.
Now, what did he say?
Well, holding him firmly with my thumb between his teeth, I said the newly developed exclusive 10,000 ohm Autolite resistor, found in no other automotive-type spark plug, increases electrode life 200% and more.
You said all that to a burglar?
Mm-hmm. And then throwing him heavily to the ground on top of me, I said, try it yourself. See your Autolite dealer and replace those old narrow gap spark plugs with wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs. Your motor will idle smoother, give you better performance on leaner gas mixtures. Actually save you gas.
Then what?
Oh, he said he'd stood all he could, and he started yelling for the cops.
Oh, and I think I'll start yelling for Suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage James Stewart as Phil in Consequence. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
There must be something of the criminal in every man, because it seemed that I knew automatically everything I would have to do and how I was going to do it.
Hotel Wilton.
Dr. Wolf, please. Dr. Theodore Wolf.
Thank you. I'm sorry, sir. Dr. Wolf doesn't answer.
Oh, well, say, what's the number of his room again? I want to drop him a note.
Dr. Wolf is in 502.
502. Thank you very much. I knew in a big hotel like that, the chances of anyone remembering exactly what Ted had looked like were pretty slim. And I figured they'd give me the key all right as long as I didn't have to stumble around asking for the number. I let myself into 502 and snapped on the light. I found the plane tickets on the bureau. Then I pried open his luggage and changed into one of his suits. Put on his hat and overcoat just in case. Packed my own things away. There was a pair of dark glasses on the bureau, too. I put them on. Then I went downstairs, checked out, paying cash. I knew he'd bought the plane tickets to the airport and that the travel clerk in the hotel wouldn't know Ted Wolf from Adam.
Yes, sir?
I'm Dr. Wolf. I've been staying here at the hotel.
Oh, yes, Doctor.
I have a through plane ticket here to Ecuador, Pan American, for tonight. I want to turn it in.
Oh, one moment, sir. That's Dr.
Dr. Theodore Wolf.
Pan American? Wilton Hotel. Got a through ticket to Ecuador. Dr. Wolf. Will you take it? Thank you. All right. That will be quite all right, Dr. Wolf.
And while we're at it, you might as well give me a couple of train tickets.
Yes, sir. Where to?
Huh?
I said where to, sir.
Los Angeles. We'd taken care of everything. A note to my bank, supposedly from Ted, enclosing Philip Martin's check for $5,000. And a letter in my own handwriting explaining that I'd agreed to lend him that amount. And asking the bank to forward the money to my account in Los Angeles. My account as Ted Wolf. And we drafted a letter to the people in Ecuador. And in Los Angeles, Joe became Mrs. Ted Wolf. And at first, everything clicked. I got the kind of a job a doctor dreams about, where I could write my own ticket and spend at least half my time entirely on research. And Joe started taking courses for a medical degree. After all, she was only 24. And then, right there, right in broad daylight in the hospital, it happened.
Hello?
Joe, pack a bag as quick as you can. Just enough for 2 or 3 days in the mountains. Now, just as fast as you can.
Phil?
It's Gwen. I saw her just now upstairs in the reception room.
Gwen? Are you sure? Absolutely sure? Couldn't it be just a coincidence, Phil? I mean, couldn't Gwen maybe just have happened?
Maybe. Listen, Joe. I've been thinking.
She mustn't know where we go.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe it would be better if she did know where we were going.
If she did know?
I don't know. It may just be a coincidence. But if it is a showdown, the mountains is a better place than most.
All right.
I'll phone the landlady.
Is that safe?
Yeah, Gwen won't talk, not until she's sure.
Carlton Apartments, Mrs. Burton.
Hello, Miss Burton. This is Dr. Wolf. I wonder if you'd do me a favor.
Why, I'd be glad to, Dr. Wolf.
We're going out of town for a couple of days, and I just remembered some friends said they might stop by, and I thought they might like to join us, so I wanted them to know where we were.
All right, sir.
Now, maybe you could just stick a note in our door where they'll see it. We're going to Caribou Lake, and we'll be in the cottage at the very top of the mountain. It's right straight up a dirt road from the lake. They can't miss it.
Caribou Lake, the cottage at the top of the mountain, up the dirt road from the lake. Is that all?
Yes, thank you, Miss Burton. That's all. Thank you. Caribou Lake is nothing more than a general store where you can buy bait, hire boats, and cottages. That time of year, there's hardly anybody there except the people who own the store. And the cottage we had was a good 3 miles away up a twisting dirt road running above the lake. But you could see it very plain, even at night when the lights were on. We stopped in the store. We both went in to buy what we needed, food, kerosene, matches, things like that. Then we went on up the mountain. By that time, it was almost dark, and Joe fixed something to eat, but neither of us could touch it. We were watching the road for lights of a car. It was about 8:30 when we saw them. And they went on past the store without stopping and came on up the mountain. It couldn't have been anyone else but Gwen.
Well?
Yeah, she didn't waste any time.
What if the car is rented?
No, she'd bring her own. She loves to drive.
Phil, you're not afraid, are you?
No, not anymore. I'll go.
Well, this is a surprise.
Hello, Gwen.
Dr. Martin, always poised. Nothing surprises you, does it?
I suppose it was the check.
Partly. Then I happened to notice that a Dr. Theodore Wolf had married a Miss Josephine Reynolds in Los Angeles. did occur to me that your idealistic friend must have been an awfully fast worker. Well, aren't you and your bride going to ask me in?
Come in, Mrs. Martin.
Thank you. Quite cozy, aren't you?
We have been.
Well, I'm sorry to break up your little...
All right, cut it out, Gwen. Now, what do you want?
Why, my dear man, what do you think I want?
And the way things are now, you've got $200,000 worth of life insurance coming to you. Why don't you let us alone?
Philip, I don't know whether you realize how much worry and anguish you've caused me.
Sure, I know. I know just exactly how much.
And perhaps you also know exactly how you stand with the law in this matter. I don't know about all this impersonation business, except it would permanently ruin your career. But I do know that the laws covering bigamy are quite drastic.
Yeah, I used to think that money meant everything to you, Gwen, but I guess it doesn't, does it?
I certainly don't feel called upon to accept rebukes from you, Philip, for anything. Not after what you've done. I feel that I'm being most generous to both of you.
All right, now, just what exactly do you want, Gwen?
Either you come back and we'll explain the whole thing as amnesia or something, or you both go to jail.
How could you shut
now,
up?
Listen. Just a minute. Now, listen, Gwen. Does anybody else know about this?
Of course not.
Nobody knows you came out here, or why?
After all, Philip, I do have some pride left. Just that I was taking a little trip to New York to forget.
New York, huh? All right, Gwen. Just give us a couple of minutes to talk this thing over, will you? Alone?
Very well. Although I don't see there's very much to talk about.
Will you go outside, or shall we?
I'll go. I'll wait in the car.
Oh, Phil.
It's all right, Joe. I don't mind now.
Neither do I.
Do you think you can do it?
Me?
I'll have to have an alibi.
Have you thought...
I've thought about it. I've thought about it all day. And it's all right. It's good. She'll disappear the same way I did.
A fire?
Yeah. Only I'll have to be down at the store when it happens. This place will go up like kindling. And when they pull her out, they'll think it's you. Nobody knows she's up here. And I'll be there to say it is you.
How are you going to...
I've got it all fixed in the cellar. All you have to do is... Here. Use this hatchet. Can you?
Yes. I will.
And then go out to the car and get on the floor of the back seat, under the blanket, lock it from the inside. I'll probably get away right afterwards.
All right, Phil.
I'll see you in the car, and the whole thing shouldn't take more than a couple of hours.
Phil, you're not afraid?
Are you?
No. I'm glad.
Gwen?
Yes?
Come on in.
Have you decided?
Yes. Well, you might as well eat with us. There'll be quite a few details to talk over.
I'm not sure I feel much like eating in this house, Philip.
Yes, well, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to start back hungry. Give me the keys to your car, will you? It's blocking mine, and I'll go down the hill and get a few things for dinner.
Really,
Oh,
Philip,
will you please stop griping? Now, you've won. Now, give me the keys.
Very well. But I wouldn't try any mad dashes if I were you.
Oh, now, don't be a fool, Gwen.
No, I don't suppose you would. Alone?
She went in. I took the keys, but first I went around back, down the cellar. I put a lot of old newspapers around the wood pile and doused the whole thing with kerosene. And then I cut a stub of plumber's candle and set it on the papers and lit it. I knew just about how long it'd take the candle to burn down, about 45 minutes. Then I went out and I got in Gwen's car and I started on the mountain without lights. And at the drop above the lake, I put it in low and I cramped the wheels and I jumped out. About 40 feet of water. Unless somebody told them where to look, they'd never find the car. Now, all that hadn't taken more than 15 minutes. The walk down to the store took about 20 more.
Well, forget something, Dr. Wolf?
Yeah, like a fool. I forgot my tobacco. I can't get through the night without a pipe.
Know just how it is. Walk down?
Yeah, working up an appetite, you know.
There you are. You folks have callers tonight?
No. Why?
I thought I saw a car go up your way a while back.
Oh, I saw the lights, but they didn't come up. Somebody must have made the wrong turn. No, didn't they come back?
I don't know. I was out for a spell. You see that car come back by, Daisy?
Oh, you must have seen it all right. It was about an hour ago.
Seems like I did hear a car about that.
Sure, that was it.
Yep, pretty sure did.
Mrs. Dooley don't always see so good, but she hears plenty. Hey, Ma?
Pa, look here.
Huh?
Pa, look it up there. Looks like a fire.
Say, it is. It is a fire. Golly, Doc, that looks like your place.
Well, it couldn't be. But it must be.
Big, too. We better get up there, too.
Do you have your car?
We'll go in the truck. It's right outside. The boys can bring Ma along in the car. You hear that, Ma?
Yeah. Len.
Come on,
Johnny,
Doc.
get
I sure hope everything's all right.
And so do I. The cottage was all wood and dry, and it was completely gone by the time we got there. It was the boys who dragged her out of the embers.
I wouldn't look if I was you, Doctor.
Oh,
Must
Joe.
have been quick anyway. She's burnt almost to nothing.
You better go on, Doc. We'll take charge of everything.
All right.
Do you want one of the boys to go with you?
No. I'll get in touch with you from town. I'll make the arrangements down there, and I'll send down for...
Sure. You go on. We'll see to everything.
All right.
Oh, I'm awful sorry, Dr. Wolf.
I climbed into the car and I started down the mountain. When I was around the first bend, I pulled up and stopped. I reached over with one hand and touched the blanket on the floor behind me. Are you all right, Joe?
Yes, Philip. I'm quite all right.
Gwen? Gwen has never told me how it happened. But of course she killed Joe. We both killed her. And now I know that I'm trapped. I'm hopelessly, irrevocably trapped by the terrible burden of guilt we share between us, as she is. I know now that two people held together by such a frightful bond cannot both go on living. For that bond can be broken in only one way. One of the two must die. And so I write this and place it in the hands of my attorney for safekeeping in order that the true facts be brought to light in the event of such a death. For no matter how innocent it may appear, no matter how natural the cause, how plausible the accident, it will be no accident. It will be murder. Cold-blooded, calculated, deliberate murder.
And now, the local news. Dr. Philip Martin, who has been in poor health for the past 3 months while recovering from an attack of amnesia, died today in his home from an overdose of sleeping sedative. He is survived by his widow, Mrs. Gwen Martin.
Thank you, James Stewart, for a splendid performance.
What a performance, Harlow.
Yes, Hap, it's like the performance you get when you replace old narrow gap spark plugs with wide gap Autolite resistor spark plugs.
They make an engine idle smoother.
Give better performance on leaner gas mixtures.
Actually save on gas.
Because Autolite resistor spark plugs are ignition engineered.
That's right, by Autolite. The makers of over 400 products for
cars,
trucks,
airplanes,
boats.
In 28 Autolite plants from coast to coast.
Yes, sirree. And Autolite also makes complete electrical systems for many makes of America's finest cars.
Batteries,
spark plugs,
generators,
starting motors,
coils,
distributors.
All engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly, because they're a perfect team.
The lifeline of your car.
So, folks, don't accept electrical parts that are supposed to be as good. Ask for and insist on Autolite original factory parts at your neighborhood service station, car dealer, garage, or repair shop. Remember, you're always right with Autolite.
And now here again is Mr. James Stewart.
Well, I want to thank Tony Litter and his great cast of actors for making my suspense visit so pleasant. I'm a great Suspense fan, and like all of you, I'm looking forward to next week's show when Frederick March appears in Cornell Woolrich's story, The Night Reveals, another gripping study in
Suspense.
James Stewart can currently be seen starred in the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer production, The Stratton Story. Tonight's suspense play was adapted for radio by Robert Richards from an original story by Vladimir Posner and George Sklar, with music composed by Lucien Morawek and conducted by Leith Stevens. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Next Thursday, same time, hear Frederick March in The Night Reveals.
You can buy Autolite resistor spark plugs, Autolite stay-full batteries, Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Now, Autolite and its 60,000 dealers and service stations present
Suspense. Tonight, Autolite brings you Frederick March in The Night Reveals, a suspense play produced and directed by Anton M. Leader.
Friends, for that Memorial Day trip, install an Autolite Stay Full battery in your car and relax. An Autolite Stay Full battery needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
Yes, sirree, only 3 times a year.
Why, it makes a Camel look like a drinking fountain.
And in addition, an Autolite Stay Full battery has extra plates for extra power.
Protected by fiberglass insulation for stronger life and longer life. In recent tests conducted according to the life cycle standards of the Society of Automotive Engineers, Autolite Stay Full batteries gave 70% longer average life than batteries without all these features. With an Autolite Stay Full battery, you need to add water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
So remember, you're right with Autolite.
And now, Autolite presents Frederick March in a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I should have known before that something was wrong, gentlemen. I should have known by your eyes. It was a queer look, and staring at me one minute and avoiding me the next. Well, I came home late one Monday night, and they were asleep. My son Johnny and my wife here, Marie. I lay in bed reviewing my day's work. I'm an investigator for the Herkimer Fire Insurance Company. And while thinking about the fire on 2nd Avenue, I fell asleep. And suddenly I was sitting bolt upright, wide awake, with a strange feeling of being alone in the room. I looked toward Marie's bed. It was too dark to see. I called, Marie. Marie. No answer. Got up, walked to her bed. The quilt was bunched up. I pulled the covers down. The bed was empty. In the bathroom? No. He wasn't there. Not in Johnny's room either. Johnny was alone. Marie wasn't in the apartment. I put on the light. I looked at my watch. It was 2 a.m. I got dressed and I walked out. Rang for the elevator. It was nothing, of course. It was nothing important, but my heart kept hammering away.
Morning, Mr. Jordan. Kind of late for you.
Yeah. Good morning, Steve. Did, you see my wife get on?
Well, yes, Mr. Jordan. About half an hour ago, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. You see which way she went?
Well, yeah, she went towards 3rd Avenue. Said she was going to the...
Yeah, went to the drugstore, I guess.
That's right. There's one over on 96th Street. Open all night.
Thanks, Steve. That was it. She went to the drugstore. I was worried over nothing at all. But I didn't know what to do quite. I didn't want to follow her, but the elevator boy was watching me. So I strolled easily along towards 3rd. I stood on the deserted dark corner. I looked up and down the street. Then I saw her coming. She was walking toward me briskly.
Harry! What are you doing here?
Well, I got up and saw you were gone.
Oh, I couldn't sleep.
had a dreadful headache, so I decided to go down for some aspirin.
Yes, of course. The drugstore on 96th Street. Yeah, but you were coming from 97th Street.
Oh, I took a little walk. I thought some fresh air would do me some good.
Yeah, it's a nice night.
I've only been gone about 10 minutes.
Steve says you were gone about a half hour.
It was only 10 minutes. What time is it now?
2:35.
I've been out for almost 15 minutes.
Oh, it's more than...
It was about 15 minutes. No more than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Everything seemed all right, but still I felt something was wrong. We got into our apartment and we both went to bed. Just lay there. We didn't say anything.
Listen.
Huh?
A fire. A fire.
Yeah, not far. Over east a couple of blocks. By the river, I'd say. That's my district.
Fire.
Well, what the... Hello?
Hello, Harry. Sorry to wake in the middle of the night. There's a bad one over near you between 2nd and 3rd. Maybe a total loss.
Between 2nd and 3rd, Mr. Palmer. An apartment building?
Yeah, 98th Street. 340 East 98th. I called you because I'd like you to go there direct first thing in the morning instead of coming to the office. Okay? I'll meet you there.
You okay, Mr. Palmer? Good night.
A fire on 98th Street.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't see Marie in the dark, but I knew. I knew she was staring at me. I was very tired. Good night, Marie.
Good night, Harry.
For Suspense, Autolite is bringing you Mr. Frederick March in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
Hi, Hap. Say, this week I've been helping my brother-in-law get the car ready for Memorial Day.
For a whole week?
No. While he was pushing her up the driveway, I just told him no need to wear yourself to a frazzle. Just get a new Autolite Stay Full battery. Needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use. Why, an Autolite Stay Full battery has more liquid reserve than a camel with water on the knee.
Sure.
Yes, sirree, I told him. Forget those holiday worries. Just remember, the extra liquid reserve in an Autolite Stay Full battery means less danger from evaporation. For real performance, just install an Autolite Stay Full battery. It needs water only 3 times a year in normal car use.
And all that time he was breaking his back, pushing the car up the driveway?
About that time, he straightened up and gave me a dirty look. How was I to know he'd excited his sacroiliac again? And anyway, he shouldn't have anything but an Autolite Stay Full battery in his car for long, trouble-free operation.
Did he tell you then he'd buy an Autolite Stay Full battery?
He sure did, but emphatically.
Fine. And now, let's get back to Suspense.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Frederick March as Harry in The Night Reveals, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Well, the next morning, I went over to 98th Street to inspect the remains of number 340 and to see if there was evidence of anything suspicious about the origin of the fire. Mr. Palmer was there.
Yeah, there it is. Got it. Guess we'll be paying off on this one, all right.
Completely burned out. Anyone hurt?
A few, but no one dead. Lucky they just installed the new fire escape.
Just the walls left. Hey, that fire must have been quite a sight in the height of its glory.
Yeah, quite a sight. Say, those walls look pretty bad. Might collapse almost any time.
Yeah, the building will have to be raised. Gee, that fire did a good job.
Oh, there's the commissioner.
Hello, Parmenter. Jordan? Hi, Mr. Morrell.
Know anything about the fire, Commissioner?
No, not a thing. Well, now that you're here, we'll take a look. No, I wouldn't go in there, Jordan. Those walls. I can take care of myself.
Maybe you'd better not go inside.
Don't worry about me. I know fires as well as anyone. You stay outside, Mr. Palmer. I'm going in. I went gingerly into the blackened, ruined hallway. Ashes and debris up to my ankles. until I reached the remains of the stairway. Underneath were several baby carriages, just twisted pieces of metal. A burned fragment of something fell nearby.
Come on back, Jordan.
I'm all right. I poked around near the carriages, sifting through the fine, clean ashes. Something caught my eye. It was a glob of yellow metal. I picked it up. Then I worked my way out.
She's burned through, isn't she?
Yeah, clean through. Nothing left of her.
Find anything?
No, nothing much. Fire started in the hallway, all right. It worked its way up. Cellar's untouched.
What's that in your hand?
Oh, that's just a piece of metal I found. Here.
What do you think, Commissioner?
Yeah, probably one of those gadgets they have on baby carriages.
I guess you're right. It isn't anything.
But it was something. I had run my fingernail across this glob of metal. It looked like gold. I would examine it in detail later at home.
Hello, Daddy.
How are you, Johnny?
Mama says I was bad today. Harry, you're home early.
Yeah, I got through sooner than I expected.
What is it, Harry?
Your locket. You're not wearing it. You've never had it off before.
My locket? Well, don't you remember? Daddy, can I go over and see Davy Taylor for a minute?
Yeah, Johnny, go ahead.
All right. Gee, Daddy. Well, you shouldn't have done that. I didn't want him to go. He hasn't had his dinner.
Never mind, Johnny. What'd you say happened to the locket?
Well, I gave it to you.
To me?
Well, I put it in your pocket to have it fixed. The catch was loose.
I don't remember.
I put it in your pocket, Harry. I forgot to mention it to you. I wanted you to take it to the jeweler's and get the catch fixed. I just put it in your coat pocket while you were shaving.
When?
Yesterday? Yes, yesterday morning.
Well, it should be in my pocket now. I wore this suit yesterday, too. Nothing in my pockets, Marie.
Well...
Marie.
Yes, Harry?
Anything wrong with you?
I'm perfectly all right. Not a thing wrong with me.
You look worried, as if you've got something on your mind.
Nothing. I just am having a headache.
Maybe you ought to see a doctor.
No. Really doesn't amount to much.
Well, I think I'll take another look for the locket. Which suit did you say you put it in?
Your blue suit? I think. Or maybe it was the gray, though. I
couldn't make it out. What had she done with the locket? Had she pawned it? Had she given it away? Then I remembered something. I went in the bathroom, locked the door. I looked at this shapeless little glob of yellow metal. I rubbed the blackened spots away until all of it was gleaming. Took a nail file out of the medicine chest and began to file it. I kept filing until I had enlarged the crack to the full length of the piece of gold. And I slipped the nail file inside and pried it open. Tiny fragments of glass, and then I saw a piece of scorched paper. It was a photograph. It was a picture of my son, Johnny. This glob of metal was my wife's locket. I put the locket and the picture in my pocket and walked out. All through dinner and afterwards, I watched her. She seemed very uneasy. Finally, I went over to my pipe rack, where I kept several books of matches in a jar. There weren't any there. And now I knew she was watching me closely. I looked behind the rack. There wasn't a match around. What the devil happened to all my matches?
I have a match. Here, let me light it for you.
Did you take the matches out of the jar, Marie?
Well,
Did you?
Yes, I needed them in the kitchen. Shall I light your pipe for you?
No, I'll light it myself. I picked a match out of the booklet. It was a clean white match with a green head. I struck it against the side. The match spluttered up into a yellow flame, fringed on the bottom with blue. Marie stared at it until I felt the sharp bite of the flame on my thumb. Oh,
Burn yourself?
No, it's all right.
Would you like a nice hot cup of tea, Harry?
No, dear, I don't think so. I watched her. Her hand casually brushed along the table and picked up the matches. Marie, leave the matches on the table.
I need them. I'm rather short of matches. The pilot isn't working.
Is this the only book of matches in the house?
I have to get some tomorrow. Where are you going, Harry?
Just get a drink of water.
No, I'll get it for you, Harry.
Never mind, Marie. I'll get it myself. I went into the kitchen. There was a paper bag alongside the gas main. Matches all thrown in helter-skelter. Books of matches and safety matches all mixed together. I walked back, sat down in my chair. You've been having headaches lately.
I'm just tired. Nothing serious.
How'd you like to go away for a few days? Take a vacation. I'll get a maid to take care of Johnny, and it'll do you a lot of good.
No, I don't need a vacation. There's nothing wrong with me. But, Harry, there is...
Yeah?
There's nothing the matter with...
You were about to say something else.
I've got to go into Johnny's room and see that he's covered. He always throws the covers off.
I sat there looking after her, and then I glanced about the room. There was the pack of matches lying open on the table. I closed the cover. And then I noticed her purse lying nearby. It was bulging.
Harry!
What's the matter?
My purse.
Yes, your purse. Here, look. Full of matches. A dozen books of them. And these newspaper clippings.
Give it back to me.
Why are you saving these clippings? Why do you carry all these matches with you?
Well, I bought the matches in the store. A dozen for 5 cents.
These newspaper clippings. Fire on 112th Street causes severe damage. And all these others. Why are you saving these clippings, Marie?
Why, there's nothing wrong in that. I'm interested in your work. I intend to keep a file on fires. It'll help you in your work.
That's very considerate, Marie.
Oh, Harry, you're so good. Why should this have to happen to us?
About midnight, I went to bed. Marie didn't follow me. I lay in the semi-darkness, wide awake, trying to think what I should do. Couldn't collect my thoughts. Every time I closed my eyes, I could see the flame of that match, yellow and blue, crawling along the matchstick.
Drink this, Harry. It'll help you sleep.
Oh, what is it?
It's cocoa. It's very good for you.
I'm not the one that's having trouble falling asleep.
We both couldn't sleep last night. I'm taking some of this myself as soon as I go to bed.
All right, leave it on the nightstand.
Oh. Be sure to drink it while it's hot.
Yes, Mary, I will.
Good night, darling.
Good night, Mary. Cocoa. And then suddenly I knew. I looked around quickly for something to pour it in. There was a radiator pan. It was empty. I poured the cup of liquid into it. Then I laid back and waited. I waited for her next move. About an hour later, I heard the door open softly and Marie tiptoed toward my bed.
Harry? Harry? Are you asleep?
I didn't answer, but breathed evenly. She hovered over me for a moment, and she tiptoed out, carefully closing the door behind her. I jumped out of bed and hurried into my clothes. Quickly, I poured the cocoa from the pan into a bottle, put it in my pocket, and I grabbed my coat and I followed her. I rang for the elevator. She had only a few minutes headway. I'd catch up to her easily, and then we'd have a showdown. Steve looked at me with controlled amazement. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Mr. Jordan.
My wife went down a moment ago, didn't she?
Yes, Mr. Jordan, just took her down.
She went toward 3rd Avenue, didn't she?
Well, I think so. She sort of stopped for a minute and then turned towards 3rd. I had to get back to the elevator because you were ringing.
When I reached the corner, I looked up and down 3rd Avenue. Then I saw her. She was walking north. I crossed to the other side of the street and followed her, keeping at a distance. At 98th Street, she turned east. Down the middle of the block was the remains of last night's fire. She stopped in front of the gutted building, for a long time, just stood there, looking at it. Then she walked inside. I waited a few seconds, then followed her. Marie.
Who's there?
Me, Harry.
Harry. Why did you...
Come along, Marie. We'd better get out of here. The police. I took her hand. Without a word, she came along. We walked home in complete silence. We both knew. When we came to our apartment house, I stopped and rang for the elevator. In the light of the hallway, I could see her face. My wife's face. Ashy gray. Her eyes brightened and painful. You run upstairs, Marie, and I'll be along in a minute.
Harry, where are you going?
I'll be right back.
Please, Harry. Don't do anything.
You run along, Marie.
You're not going to...
No. I'm only going to the drugstore to get something. I'll be back in a few minutes. I came home a half hour later. She was waiting for me.
Did you do it, Harry? Please, Harry, tell me. I've got to know.
I had the cocoa you gave me analyzed.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to do it. Don't you see? I couldn't help it.
Very easy for the druggist, especially when I told him what I thought was in it. That stuff that makes you sleep through an earthquake.
Please, try to understand, Harry. You must understand.
Is the kid asleep?
Uh-huh. Johnny's all right.
I was sorry for Marie. She looked so haggard and worn. It wasn't her fault. I was sorry for myself. My head was roaring. I wasn't feeling too well. I kept seeing sparks in front of my eyes. I closed my eyes for a moment.
Let's go to bed, Harry.
Marie, look, we can do something. Now, let's burn up every match in the house. We never bring another match in.
No, Harry, we can't do that.
You don't want to.
No, not now, Harry.
Strange, isn't it? Huh? That this should happen to me. Me, a fire inspector. That's funny. Give me the matches, Marie. All the matches.
No, I can't do that.
Give them
I won't.
Me.
Please don't take them. I'll do anything you want, anything.
Where did you hide them? Tell me, where are they?
Inside the range behind the paper bag.
I dropped her hand. She sank to the floor in a huddle, weeping. And then I went into the kitchen and got all the matches.
Please, Harry. Don't burn them out.
Marie, look up. See? I'll light each book of matches one at a time until they've all gone up in smoke. The yellow flame licked its way down the matches. The cover caught fire and blackened. I watched her look at the flame with dazed eyes.
Listen, Harry. You hear?
Just someone in the hall.
It's more than someone. Something's happened. Something has happened.
I'll take a look.
The house is on fire.
Yeah, Marie, wake up Johnny.
Johnny!
You'll have to hurry. The flames are coming up the stairs. There's an upward draft.
What's the matter, Mother? The house is on fire. We've got to get out.
It's too late to go down. We'll have to go up through the roof.
Oh, I hurt my leg.
Come along, Johnny.
Mother, wait for Mother.
Here, come along.
No, I want to wait for Mother. It's all right, Johnny. Go along with Daddy. I'll follow you. No, I won't go. I won't go without you.
Hold on to my arm, Marie. Come on. Give me a hand, Johnny. Don't be scared. The fire won't hurt you. It won't hurt you at all. You're safe with me. We made our way upstairs. Very slowly because of Marie's sprained ankle. Finally, we got to the roof. There were some firemen on the next roof. About 10 feet separated the two buildings.
Don't get panicky. We'll get you off safely.
Are we going to have to jump across, Daddy? Mother won't be able to jump. Her foot.
It's all right, Johnny. Don't be scared.
Putting a board across between the two roofs. We'll just walk across.
All right, now. One at a time. Tie the rope around you and come across.
Johnny, you go first. Here. Now, don't be afraid. There. Rope will hold you in case you slip.
Mother, you got to go first.
I'll go right after you. Johnny.
You promise?
Go ahead, Johnny. Mullo will follow you. Don't turn around. Now keep walking.
All right. The kid's safe. Now you, lady. Be careful, the board. Hey, the board slipped off. Hurry, one of you guys, and get another board. Coming out. Your mother's going to be all right.
You pushed the board off, Harry. I saw you do it.
No, I didn't, Marie. I didn't.
All right, mister. Just tie the rope around her. Now, don't be afraid, lady. And don't look down.
All right.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, boys. She's all right. Now you, mister.
All right.
That's right. Tie the rope around you. All set? Okay.
On the ground, we stood there, the three of us, watching the fire. Great flames shot out, stabbing at the sky. The top of the roof was burning now. A red flame crawled along, searching out the inflammable spots. And the wind was helping it. All this time, Marie was shaking violently, but not with cold. I pitied her. And then she threw up her hands and shrieked. No, darling, don't.
I can't stand it. We can't go on this way. Police! Police, come here!
Don't do it, Marie. There's no need to let the police. You don't know what you're saying.
What is it, lady? Hey, you better calm down now.
Officer, pay no attention.
No, it's no use, Harry. Officer, these awful fires, they're not accidental. There's a pyromaniac, a criminal. I know who it is. You got to arrest the person. Arrest him. So there won't be any more.
All right, lady. What is this? Who is the pyromaniac?
The criminal is my husband, Harry Jordan. This man here. Arrest him, officer.
Well, that's about all there is to the story, gentlemen. And then I was brought here. She must have sounded kind of painful for you to hear it all over again, Marie.
No. It was all right, Harry.
I wonder, I got a cigarette. Could I,
No. I'll light it for you.
You don't have to worry. I won't try to keep the matches. You've been awfully good to me, gentlemen. You take good care of her, won't you? She tried everything to help her. Hid the matches so as to keep them from me. She even tried to give me sleeping pills so I wouldn't...
It's all right, Harry.
Sorry about the locket there. Must have fallen out of my coat when I was in that building at 98th Street.
It's all right, Harry. You can buy me another one. Sometime.
You can't blame anybody for liking fires. Not their fault. Fires are beautiful to watch. So bright and clean. They burn up all the filth and dirt. They're magnificent to watch, especially the big ones. The way the flames roar and crackle, lighting up everything around you. A beautiful fire. A beautiful fire.
Thank you, Frederick March, for a splendid performance.
Say, Harlow, you and your brother-in-law still friends?
Why, of course we're friends, Hap. We have so much in common. Both of us think an Autolite Stay Full battery is wonderful. Why, it needs water only 3 times a year, normal car use. And he appreciates the fact that Autolite Stay Full batteries are made by Autolite, the makers of over 400 products for cars,
trucks,
airplanes,
boats.
in 28 Autolite plants from coast to coast.
Yes, sirree. And Autolite also makes complete electrical systems for many makes of America's finest cars.
Batteries,
Spark plugs,
generators,
starting motors,
coils,
distributors.
all engineered to fit together perfectly, work together perfectly, because they're a perfect team.
The lifeline of your car.
So, folks, don't accept electrical parts that are supposed to be as good. Remember, you're always right with Autolite.
And now here again is Mr. Frederick March.
It's been a real pleasure appearing on Suspense tonight, working with this fine cast, especially Jeanette Nolan, who played Marie. And I'm looking forward with great interest to listening next week when radio's outstanding theater of thrills brings you Joan Crawford in The 10 Years. Another gripping study in
Suspense.
Frederick March is soon to be seen with his wife, Florence Eldridge, in the new film Christopher Columbus. Tonight's Suspense play was adapted by Sigmund Miller from the story by Cornell Woolrich, with music composed by Lucien Morawick and conducted by Leith Stevens. The entire production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Next Thursday, same time, hear Joan Crawford in The 10 Years.
You can buy Autolite Stay-Full batteries, Autolite resistor spark plugs, Autolite electrical parts at your neighborhood Autolite dealers. Switch to Autolite. Good night.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.